Margaret Riggle with a 10. You talk about your dad's a lot, and you seem to know a lot about women. So what did your mom say to do to influence you to how to treat women? Please educate all men.
Who's that for? I guess the panel.
Everyone.
Yeah, because we all had different mothers, right?
I don't know.
True. I mean,
maybe we did all have the same mom. Maybe we're all brothers. I think my mom taught me what like a powerful woman is, and I mean in like the real feminine sense of like what a powerful woman is, because she's 5'2", not exactly an intimidating individual until she opens her mouth and starts talking. Until you look at what she was able to do, raising 3 boys, working full time in a high profile job, like everything that she was able to do, and the presence she commands in a room full of powerful dudes. That showed me like what an actual strong woman is. Not like, I need my fucking pronouns and dye my hair blue and put a fucking ring through my nose. Like, no, I have seen what a strong woman is. Like, you're not even fucking close. You haven't even scratched the surface. I think that's what my mom taught me.
X-Wing, I'm so glad you brought up the actual strong women thing, because, bro, watching my mom take care of my dad when he had a stroke, and when and later on, a few years later on, when he was passing away from cancer, it was huge, man. So that whole thing, that's how an actual strong woman's supposed to behave, not like hating men and like throwing fits on social media, that sort of stuff, but how an actual strong woman's supposed to live. That is huge as well.
Yeah,
if you have the right,
a legitimately strong woman, I would say almost sometimes in the way that like a man is, it's a very quiet strength. Very quiet strength. You don't hear about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My dad was more soft spoken. Like, if I went to my dad with, like, if my mom, when I was younger, if my mom had to involve my dad, then I was like, I really fucked up. So it's like how I talk and treat my mom, and being disciplined for, like, disrespecting her is, like, how I learned how to, how to navigate women and how to be polite, respectful, and be cordial. And
I think your dad teaches you how to treat a woman. Your mother teaches you what kind of woman you want.
Yes, that's very well said. That's very well said.
Well, I'm kind of in line with what Beardo has said. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't know my mom when I was younger through personal situations, but thinking about like what I learned, how to treat women, it was very much from my father. And one thing that I learned is you have to maintain yourself, like being able to be that solid rock. It's funny learn about women, but then it really is about how to be a man, right? I mean, being solid in yourself is one of the key parts of being in a relationship, and like that filters out on how you treat women. Because if you maintain a solid base for yourself, I don't know, it reverberates into how you treat women as well. Because if you're a mess, you're not going to treat other people correctly. But if you're solid in yourself, you're able to be that rock.
That's what women want.
Your female,
right?
Exactly.
A lot of insecure guys think, I'm not going to impose myself. Not going to. I want to please her. I want to be nice to her. And of course, you're going to be nice, and you're going to respect her. You're going to be polite when you have to. But that doesn't mean it comes from an insecurity place. It comes from a place of that's who I am. And so women don't want guys to bend backwards for them. That's not what they want. They want someone who's going to change their lives for the better.
There it is.
And I think too, the other thing that never really changes in relationships at all, because I've always been in, for some reason, I don't know why, I've always been in long relationships. I go buck wild when I'm in between them, but you're a stone wall.
He's going hogging.
You know what I mean? You're a stone wall. Right up against the ocean. She's the ocean, you're the stone wall, and like she's always going to be lapping at the surface, trying to break down the stone wall, trying to get through.
A good analogy.
Always trying to get through, and you cannot let your fucking guard down, because if you give up and you change, and I mean, I'm not saying not change for the better, you know what I mean? Like, don't be a piece of shit, but if you give up and that sea breaks through and the stone wall breaks down, it's over, dude. It's over.
Washed away. She washed away in the sea.
Yeah. It's a weird way to say that, like, she won. That doesn't sound like a good thing. Well, it's not a good thing, but yeah, just retain your stoicism.
You know what's great about that mindset, and that it's that actually makes you better, because emotional strength, it's not something you can fake. So if you try to pretend, it's like courage. If you try to pretend you're brave, you're already brave. Right? There's some danger to be faced, and you go, I'm gonna pretend I'm brave and gonna face that danger. You're brave. You're not pretending. So I believe it's the same way with emotional strength. You cannot pretend to have emotional strength, because when you act like you have emotional strength, you are having emotional strength. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And they can tell. Mm-hmm. Everyone can tell. I think deep down, you know when someone's faking it or not, or clearly doesn't have it.
There's a difference between being able to show emotion and being emotionally vulnerable. I think there's a difference. Showing emotion is not only fine, I think it's important. It's absolutely important. Nobody wants to be with fucking Stonewall, I don't fucking smile dude.
I don't feel anything.
Yeah, I feel nothing. I am a stone. Like, that sucks. Right. And like, I wouldn't. Then
they question if you even love them or not.
Yeah, you might be some kind of psychopathic killer or something like that. The difference is, can you show emotion but not lose it? So that's another way. We talk about it like, never let your wife see you cry or anything like that. More on the other side of that is like, if she sees you lash out in anger, especially like at her.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? That's
huge weakness.
That
is huge
worse.
Being angry, being like throwing a fit in front of your wife.
Ooh, bad.
That's so beta, man. That's weak as fuck. Never lose your temper in front of your wife. Even when you have to act aggressively with someone else in front of your wife, do that in a rational and objective way.
You just stuff away the shit that doesn't matter, like the shit that bothers 90% of the world. Like, stuff that away. That's being a man. Stuff that shit away. Be a man. Like, deal with your fucking problems. The 10%, the important things, be okay with showing your emotions there. You know what I mean? Be okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between having an emotion and your emotion having you.
Yeah, 100%.
If your emotions have you, you're an animal.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to the saying that all of our fathers told us is, suck it the fuck up.
But at the same time, like, dude, birth my daughter. Chat. Come on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Grad. Fuck yeah. 100%.
I did too.
Happiest day of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, when you had a kid?
Son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When he came out, I started crying.
I bet. I mean,
when I heard him, when I heard him cry, because I knew that he was like alive. You know what I mean? Like, there was like confirmation, and I was like,
first breath.
And it was kind of like the dam broke, and I was like, holy shit.
But from 1 to 10, the emotional scale, those are the 8s and 9s.
True. That's a 10er, bro.
Yeah,
that
was a 10.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We're talking about like the 4s and the 5s. It's like if you see,
it's the sand. There's this thing about a jar, right? And you fill it up with big, huge, giant rocks, and you say, "Is this full?" And you think yes, but actually, then you can fill it with smaller rocks, and it's like those big, huge ones you start with. That's the 10s. That's your family. That's yourself and the things that matter the most to you. And then the pebbles are like your car and your things. But then the sand is all the bullshit, the chatter that a lot of people let get to them.
The NPCs and stuff.
Yeah, like. You don't. Who gives a shit about the sand? Focus on focus on the things that are important to you, and your life will inherently just be better.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a difference crying on the day your firstborn comes to this world, and like. Yeah. You had a bad day at the job.
I'm shadow banned, guys.
My boss yelled at me in front of everybody, and it's like, tears starts going, and she's like, "Oh fuck, you're."
Can I pull one shout out? I feel like this is important. This is important because this is a misconception I think a lot of women say about men, but they don't really understand. Is that like you can't bottle things up because if you bottle it, it's gonna wind up erupting. Like. That's just not true. If I go throughout my day, like somebody honks at me and pisses me off in a parking lot, I'm not going to flip out. That pissed me off. Like, tuck that away. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I get home and my wife says something that kind of prickles me and I'm already pissed off because of something else that's going on over there. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, now it's 2. The rage is building in the volcano. I wake up the next morning like, weak. I don't give a shit. that's so far in the past. It can't bother me because I'm too busy with the shit that I'm doing today and too busy with the shit in the future. And then I guess if the eruption happens, it's in moments like what Adam and I were talking about at the birth of your child. It's like there's enough emotion that occurs there. It sates us for 10 to 15 years. Like we're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Normal dudes have short-term memory. You got to get over the bullshit quick.
Yeah.
True. I read an article about how venting isn't good. And it was this article about how it was from a very leftist perspective, and I read it because I thought it was going to be humorous, and it kind of was, because it was an argument that working out wasn't a good way to vent, or like physical activities, and I'm like, I think this is completely wrong. You know, I think when you work out, when you do things that are physically like, you know, not stressful, but like, you know,
strenuous,
strenuous, good word, demanding. Yeah, thank you. Right, that is the release. That is the so like you put that shit down for those moments when you are able to let it out, and then use that as fuel, as your own personal smelling salts that you would need to drive home and let out that aggression. That's what men should do, right? It's those kind of moments. That's your own therapy for men. I mean, it was written by a woman, this article. You know, it was like, go to therapy and talk it out. I'm like, that is not how men
Therapy should be outlawed for men unless it's something really...
that is what therapy is for men. Working out, lifting iron, that is therapy.
To bring it back 100% full circle is like, we have to do that because we have to be the stone wall. We have to be the pillar. And the only way you do that is by building it. You have to build yourself. You have to build those immunities. You have to become that pillar. And the only way you do that is by dealing with it yourself.
You know, I want to add to what X-Wing was saying earlier about the ocean and the wall, right? The seawall. I don't think the ocean understands is that there's countless amounts of wind pushing in from outside sources, right? That's other women's opinions, or other men that are like trying, you know, winking at them, or just stresses in life that are affecting them.
Like, digging beneath the wall.
Well, having that stone wall is a foundation, right? You need to be that foundation to be strong, to be able to be there to contain the ocean. If you see what I'm saying, right? There's so many outside sources that can affect what the ocean, the moon is pulling, you know, lunatics. So, you know, the Luna. I don't know. It's so important to maintain the foundations of yourself. Bring back what I was saying, what I learned from my dad, you know?
Dan, do you remember what Mickey...
Bro science.
That's the fucking
what Mickey told Rocky in Rocky 1?
What part?
When Rocky and Mickey were training. And Mickey tells Rocky, women weaken legs.
Women weaken legs. Yes.
It could be true.